Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to another fine representation of the Paranormal Portal. A representation or an episode or show or whatever. It's Friday, though. You made it to the weekend. Congratulations. I hope your week was fantastic and full of fulfillment and wonder. But thank you so much for spending a good part of your weekend here with me because, well, 2 hours is an investment of time, and I appreciate you spending at least some of that time with us. So thank you so much for being here, everybody. We've got a fun-filled show waiting for you here. Got a lot of things to get into, but before I go any further, let me introduce the first big branch on my family tree. Let's call himself the Big Branch. And, of course, I'm speaking of Sheldon. Thomas is here with me. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. That's right. Big Branch here. Ready to get started on the portal.
We got the big toe and the big branch. Don won't be here for a couple of weeks. He's got a lot of things going on. So, Sheldon, you're going to be filling in on a full-time basis here for the live shows, huh?
That's right. I'm excited to get started in full-time. That's right.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here with me. It certainly makes my job a lot easier just to have someone with me. And, of course, you do a great job. So thank you so much. And we got a lot to get through tonight. But before I go any further, just a quick thank you to the sponsor of the Paranormal Portal. And that is, of course, Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people are exploring cryptocurrencies as an investment opportunities. And I think this is a great one because, well, my God, it's called Cryptid Coin. How much more perfect fit could it be? So they are a sponsor of the Paranormal Portal, and it's a new cryptocurrency that has its heart in cryptid research and investigation. So hopefully you guys will check it out. If you want to learn more about Cryptid Coin and see if it's a good fit for you, head over to cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. for more information, and it's available on PancakeSwap as well, so it makes getting involved even easier. So check it out, and a special thank you to Cryptid Coin for sponsoring the Paranormal Portal. So excellent. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff on the roster tonight, Sheldon. Before we go, I guess, no, this is a good place to go into the news. What do you think?
Oh, now's the perfect time.
Now's the perfect time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to head into the Paranormal Portal news, so buckle up and hope you're ready to learn stuff. Might be stuff you didn't want to learn, but you're going to learn something anyway, I'm sure. All right, let's get to the news. I always love how that says the most trusted news. For those of you on YouTube, of course, you can see that. Those of you that are listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, you didn't see the picture, but if you want to check out what's going on, you're like, hey, what's this show all about? I wonder what everything looks like. Well, head over to youtube.com/paranormal portal and check it out. And as such, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday night, so we'll be simulcasting on all those networks. But we also have to take the half-hour break. So if you see us taking breaks, it's not because we're lazy. It's because the networks take breaks, and we just keep everything in sync. So don't worry. Well, the show will continue. Well, hi, Mom. Portal Mom's in here, too. So awesome. Great to see all you guys in here. Thank you so much for coming in. So welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, and this is where we talk about all the news, and some of it's even paranormal. It's usually none of it is normal, though. So I don't know if it always qualifies as paranormal, but it's definitely usually not normal. So let's see what the first one I pulled up for you guys is, and this one is disturbing. I don't know what possesses a person to want to do this. I guess everybody wants to be remembered for something, and I understand that, but this is one of those that's like, really, this is the best shot you had. But here it is from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. The first article is woman sets new world record with 42 feet of fingernails.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear God. It just gives me the willies. I mean, you've got to pretty much resign yourself to the fact that you can't use your hands anymore Because,
Oh God.
I mean, wouldn't you think, Sheldon?
Yeah. There's no way you could. You'd have to have helpers. Oh God, they're so bumpy. It looks so.
Look at that tentacled mess. Oh my God. Well, congratulations to this lady that she was so dedicated to doing something that people would remember, that she grew her fingernails out. Let's see what this article says. Oh, all right. Let's see. It says Diana Armstrong not only has the longest nails of any living person, but also the longest nails of anyone ever. Oof. Armstrong, who hails from Minnesota, Sheldon,
oh no,
has allowed her fingernails to grow nonstop for 25 years. They're now so ridiculously long that they actually reach the floor. The longest, her right thumbnail, measures 138.94 centimeters, or 4 feet 6.7 inches, while the smallest, her left pinky, measures 3 feet 7 inches, or 109.2 centimeters. Combined together, her nails measure a whopping 1,306.58 centimeters, or 42 feet 10.4 inches. Oh, God. How do you keep those clean? Surprisingly, maintaining them is quite the task, as is attempting to complete everyday chores. Picking things up off the floor can be challenging, meaning that she often has to rely on others around the house to help her with certain tasks. I bet you.
That'd be easier.
She must have kids. Go pick that up. Oh, where's the remote? Getting a manicure, something that she's only done every 4 to 5 years, is another major undertaking requiring a carpentry tool. Hey, you got a belt in that door? Will you hit my nails quick?
Oh no.
Requiring a carpentry tool for filing and around 15 to 20 bottles of nail polish. As things stand, however, she has no plans to cut her record-breaking nails, not even if someone paid her to do it. Yeah, because she'd probably have to do something else. I mean, fantastic for her, whatever, but it is disturbing to look at. It's very creepy looking, for those of you that are just listening only. Trust me, it's horrible looking. It looks like she's the Emperor shooting that negative force stuff. Right? She looks like the evil Palpatine shooting that lightning out of her hands. It's like, yeah, ugh. That's what that looks like to me. And that's on Star Wars it was cool, but in here not so much. But anyway, I guess everyone wants to.
I got nothing to say on that. Yeah,
well,
that's good here.
No, I don't have much to add either, other than
I will say on a positive note, I respect the dedication.
Yeah, no, there is that. That's pretty cool. If this was what she wanted to be known for, she did it. Good for her. Way to see it through. But yeah, that can't be it for her. I would hope that's not like, well, I did it. That's my life, and I'm just going to sit and watch TV now. But she could scratch her back from across the room, Sheldon.
Oh, okay, all right, we can move on.
Hey. All right, that's it for the first article tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Is it any wonder you tune in? You just can't get this anywhere else, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. But by God,
took the night off.
No, this is just getting warmed up here, Sheldon. No, I think the rest of it's pretty good, because the next one is about some eerie howls recorded in Ohio. Woman records eerie Bigfoot howling in Ohio, and this is also from unexplainedmysteries.com. Check out the site, unexplained-mysteries.com. Fantastic site. They just have so many topics and areas of interest, and I'm sure if you check it out, you'll find plenty that you'll want to read. So go support what they're doing, because they do it well. So, woman records eerie Bigfoot howling in Ohio. And actually, Android sent me this earlier, not this actual article, but about this. And I did listen to the howls, and they do sound pretty convincing. I think very, very possible. And it says, Loudonville resident Suzanne Ferencak, I guess, believes that she's captured audio evidence of the elusive creature. Having developed a keen interest in the phenomenon after a close encounter with an alleged Bigfoot in 2013, Fahrenkak recorded the mysterious howling on July 3rd outside Mohican State Park. While park officials have dismissed the sound as that of coyotes, I don't agree. I just don't agree. I think that's like the rubber stamp answer. That's like, oh, the official government answer is coyotes.
Oh, like weather balloons? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like weather balloons. It's the weather balloon of the Bigfoot world. Fahrenkak remains unconvinced. You hear some howls, and then you hear a chorus of coyotes, and then you hear howls again. This is the first time I ever recorded howls. She was so convinced about the nature of the recording, in fact, that she went along to an anonymous audio specialist known for his work in assessing alleged Bigfoot audio. I do hear the responder after a third howl that suggests a second Sasquatch in the area, not a coyote, he said. The responder makes a low, flat howl that ends with an up whoop. Then the coyote chorus kicks in. You can check out the recordings yourself below. We're not going to play those on the show because anybody on TFR, iHeart, and TuneIn and TalkStream Live wouldn't hear anything. It would be dead air for them. So what I will do is I'll copy the link and I'll put it in the chats respectively. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, you certainly can do that. And here's the other thing with Bigfoot howls, it's not at all uncommon that the coyotes join in. You know, I mean, it's just, they always jump into any noise. A siren goes by and coyotes are, you know, they're going crazy. It's kind of like your dog. You know, if you hit a certain note on the piano, they're going to want to start howling. And there's something about Bigfoot howls that really triggers the coyotes. So if there's coyotes in the area, and there's pretty much coyotes in every area of the United States and many countries, but hearing coyotes pitching into a chorus of Bigfoot howls is, I think, pretty common. I don't think that that's unusual at all. So I'll put it in the YouTube chat as well for those of you that may want to check it out and listen to the actual audio. But very cool. And thank you to Android for sending that to me earlier. Very cool. I think that's very possibly legitimate. So
I'll listen to it as well.
Yeah. When you get a chance, you know, just, you know, open it to the side or whatever and check it out. But it's very interesting. Very interesting stuff. So let's get to the next one here on the show. The next news article on our roster of fun is let me pull it over. I'm not real high tech here. I just drag windows to my screen. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mysterious sphere falls from the sky over Mexico. And this one looks like it's UFO-y. It says, unidentified object reportedly landed in a tree after falling from the heavens over Veracruz on July 31st. It does look like the old, like, Sputnik or something, doesn't it? That
kind of looks like what my brain's telling me is it looks like a big balloon.
Right. Which looks like Sputnik. Just what
What's this? I don't know.
Sputnik was like the very first satellite ever launched around the orbit of the Earth, and it was launched by the USSR. The unidentified object was landed in Veracruz on July 31st. Yesterday, it was reported that a large piece of space junk had landed in a field in Australia, and now it turns out that something else has descended from the sky over the weekend. A solid sphere that fell over Mexico and has since been generating quite a lot of discussion and debate on social media. TV meteorologist Isidro Cano Luna has been leading efforts to get to the bottom of the mystery. According to his Facebook post, the object is made of either metal or hard plastic and appears yellowish in color, with what appears to be some sort of antenna sticking out of the top. Despite the intrigue surrounding it, however, many social media users have been quick to dismiss it as little more than a piece of space junk from a defunct satellite or spacecraft. And that's very probable. I don't doubt that at all. A specialized team at the Secretary of the Navy of Mexico and or Secretary of National Defense needs to collect it and turn it into for special study, Isidro wrote. He also warned locals not to touch it in case it turns out to be radioactive. The original post and telegraphs can be viewed below. And there it is for those of you on YouTube. Again, it just looks like Sputnik had landed in a bush or something. It's not very remarkable on the picture. But what if it was extraterrestrial? I mean, how many times do people see these orbs? shooting around, these balls of light. What if this is what they look like after they break? You know? And here's the thing. Point. Alien stuff breaks. Otherwise we wouldn't have Roswell. we wouldn't have Roswell and all of the intrigue surrounding the cover up over there of something crashing down that apparently was very saucer shaped. And so their stuff does break eventually, it seems. So could this be one of those balls of light, or is it more probably just a piece of orbiting debris? Because apparently there's a ton of it up there circling the Earth. That's made it almost a minefield for people trying to shoot up new satellites. But I guess maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Maybe you won't trust what we find out anyway, because whatever the truth is, we may never hear it. We're going to hear some version of a truth, but I don't think it'll, even if it was actually some advanced mechanism, we wouldn't know about it. It'll just be some piece of the space station or something.
Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things where it could very well be. So it's an easy pass for them.
Yeah. And it's hard to really raise any kind of debate over it, because it looks like any number of, I'm sure, components that could be on any satellite up there. So it's just a ball. We don't even really know how big it is. I don't think it said, did it? I don't remember reading a size. I don't remember it
saying no.
Yeah. So, even his original post, Isidro Cano, his original post didn't really say much more. So, and I don't read Spanish. El tiempo, that's time. También we, I think is también. I don't know. I don't speak much. I hardly speak English most of the time. So any other languages are a struggle. But anyway, that's the next article up. Let's get to the next after this. And up next on the news, we have an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is, whenever you're in trouble, Sheldon, whenever there's trouble on the earth, you know who you gotta lean on? Because he's always going to be there. Well, thank you very much. That's very sweet. Other than me, you lean on Yuri Geller. Because by God, if something goes sideways, Yuri's going to fix it. Apparently, there was some ships that were like sideways in a canal, and Yuri's pretty sure that he and his followers used their amazing powers to straighten that out and clear out the ships. Even though there was a multinational team of engineers and experts on scene, they did get it unjammed, but I'm sure it was Yuri. But
no, it was Yuri. Yep.
Rest assured, if anything goes sideways, Yuri's going to be there, because in his latest release, it's in the bizarre section, which is perfect. But it says, Yuri Geller says he will use his mind power to stop a nuclear attack. That's right, folks. Don't worry. Everything's fine, because Yuri's going to handle this. So thank you, Yuri, first and foremost, from all of us at the Paranormal Portal. We appreciate you shielding the Earth. It says, the Israeli spoonbender... I love that. That's how he's most recognized, as bending spoons. Well, the spoon bender is going to be catching intercontinental ballistic missiles, apparently, but is back in the news this week with another bizarre claim of his psychic prowess. If there's one thing in life that's almost guaranteed, it's that Yuri Geller will make another outrageous claim about how his psychic powers have influenced the world events. Back in 2021, for instance, he claimed that his own psychic intervention was responsible for releasing the cargo ship that had become stuck in the Suez Canal, while in 2019 he maintained that he had used his powers to manipulate the result of the UK general election. And this time he's taking things one step further by claiming that his psychic powers will enable the creation of a force field that will defend the world against nuclear attack. Wow, this guy's amazing. In a bizarre video, he told his followers to just take 5 seconds out of your day to visualize a radiant, energetic force field like a dazzling golden shield in the sky that would physically deflect any nuclear missiles that might be fired by Russia. In an open letter to the Russian leader, he also implied that greater forces would intervene. As well as harnessing his immense energy, all of our combined mind power, there are also forces far greater than you can imagine that I am sure will intervene to prevent you from starting a nuclear war, he wrote. They are watching and waiting, and they will stop you. Well, there you go. So
Wait, he sent a letter to Vladimir Putin.
Sounds like it. It was an open letter to Vladimir Putin, so it's probably something he just put on Facebook, but said "Dear Putin."
Oh yeah.
I don't know. This guy's a special kind of different, and I'm not saying he hasn't possibly done extraordinary things to some degree, but you know he's pulling a Jesus here, and I guess I'm personally not real comfortable with it, but anyway. Yeah, you be the judge. You know, if you're a supporter of Yuri Geller, then I hope he's good for his word. But I'm not going to hold my breath on him blocking nuclear missiles. I'm hoping there are no nuclear missiles to block, of course. But yeah, I don't think that Yuri's going to be the deciding factor in this. All right, so there you go. Another piece of news you might not have gotten anywhere else, and you probably could have done without completely. But I gave it to you anyway. All right, we're down to about 5 minutes left in the first segment of the show here tonight, so we'll get to the next article. And this is, I know, everybody tries to save a buck by doing things themselves. Like you might not call a plumber. You may need to call a plumber, but you might not because you figure you got some wrenches and a little bit of know-how. Maybe you can do it yourself. But I think there's some jobs you should probably leave to the experts, and this is one of them.
Oh, no.
Unexplained-mysteries.com tells us man attempts to perform nose job on himself.
Oh, no.
Wow, the stupid meter just hit 10. Unable or unwilling to get it done professionally, one Brazilian man decided to take matters into his own hands. There are a lot of skills that you can learn by looking up a guide on the internet, but performing complex surgical procedures definitely isn't one of them. Well, this didn't deter one adventurous individual from Brazil earlier this month, however, when he decided to attempt plastic surgery on his own nose using nothing but household items and a video he found on YouTube. What?
Oh, no. Oh.
Unsurprisingly, it wasn't long before he ended up in a hospital. According to doctors at the Campo Limpo Emergency Care Unit, the man's wound had become infected because he hadn't worn any gloves and his makeshift tools were not sterilized.
Oh, come on.
I'm sure that's the least of his problems, but certainly an infection wasn't good. He had seemingly dosed himself up with veterinary anesthetic, attempted to disinfect the area with rubbing alcohol, and had used super glue to close the wound afterward. Fortunately, doctors were able to clean it up and sort the wound to prevent further problems. However, it remains unclear whether or not the man was satisfied with the result of his efforts. The incident has been used to highlight the dangers of attempting surgical procedures on yourself, especially those relying on do-it-yourself plastic surgery videos on YouTube. The man was in fact quite fortunate to still be alive. Oh my God. That's so troubling. That's so troubling. You don't do your own rhinoplasty, for God's sakes. Oh, dear God.
That might be the stupidest thing I don't know.
That's even like worse than that woman thinking she had construction foam and thought it was mousse.
Oh God, that's oh no.
Yeah, I mean that's even worse. Do-it-yourself rhinoplasty. I don't think that's how that works. Otherwise, the doctors probably wouldn't charge so much. But anyway, it's an interesting foray into knowledge and information, as it were. But that's really disturbing. I think I'll save this last one for tomorrow because we need news for tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the news. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled program and push this button. I just can't imagine how much stupid you got to have to think, you know what? I'm going to save a buck. I think I can do this.
That's probably going to be on my mind all night because he cost himself more than quadruple than it would have. I don't.
Yeah,
of just not do. I don't know. Like he cost himself so much more just by trying to save a buck.
That's some troubling stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, we got about 30 seconds left, and I wanted to point this out before we get to break. When we come back, we got a lot more to get through, including a film effort that's underway in this area that we're going to talk about right after break. But in September 8th through the 11th, head to Phenomicon, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming up in Vernal, Utah, September 8th through the 11th. Look at all these amazing speakers that are going on there. Go to phenomicon.net, phenomicon.net, and check it out. There's information for getting tickets and so much more over there, but I'll be there, so hopefully we'll see you there as well. All right, we're going to first break, ladies and gentlemen, so buckle your belts. We'll be right back after a couple minutes. Don't go away. Wow, we're back, and hope you guys made it through the commercial break, but we are back at it here on the Paranormal Portal, and there's a lot more to go through tonight. One thing I wanted to, it probably should have fit in the news, and I guess I forgot to pull it in there, but we really didn't have time at that point anyway, but where the hell did I put it? Hold on a sec. Oh, I know where it is. Never mind. It's not on this one. Nope, it's not over here too. Where the hell did that go? Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I got to find something quick because we had another thing to check out. Here it is. Let me just pull this off here. There we go. And minimize this. And we're going to get to this. And this is an article that was sent in by Maggie from the chat room and YouTube. And she sent the... Oh, I guess I did have it open. I didn't think I did, but I guess I did. Okay, so this is an article pulled up by Maggie, and funny, oddly enough, I had actually just caught this prior to getting it from Discord, but this is another stupid move, and I'm surprised if this guy still has a job after this. But what I'm talking about, of course, is from... It's from abc.net.au. French scientist Etienne Klein apologizes after James Webb telescope image revealed as slice of chorizo. Are you freaking kidding me? The dude's taking shots of meat and saying it's from the James Webb.
Oh my God. Imagine publishing that. Oh God. He must have been just,
yeah, that he probably went, oops, that just wasn't funny. I didn't really think this through. Let's read it and see what it says here. But again, a senior French scientist has apologized after tweeting a picture which he said was from the James Webb Space Telescope, but which was not quite what it seemed. Etienne Klein, a director of France's Atomic Energy Commission, wow, really? With that title? You're posting meat shots? Posted a picture purportedly showing Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our sun. This level of detail, a new world is revealed every day, he enthused in the tweet, sent it to more than 90,000 followers on Monday. However, Professor Klein has now admitted that the glowing celestial body shown was in fact nothing more than a slice of Spanish chorizo sausage. Oh my God, as above, so below, I guess. Yeah. Wow, life imitates art. What? I mean,
well, the thing is, it even looks like, a piece of meat sausage. It like
does once
when
you know
look
what
at
it is.
It looks like it.
Once you know, once you see that, in knowing it's chorizo, it's like, well, hell yeah, that looks like chorizo. It's like, but could it look like space? I guess. I've only got a real limited exposure to space. Other than the few images that I catch here and there. The dude posted a picture of chorizo sausage and said it was from the James Webb. That's all. God, apologizing for what he describes as a scientist joke. He said his aim had been to remind people to be wary of arguments from people in positions of authority. Oh, so he was going for don't trust authority on this. Well, he succeeded.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, that's kind of counterproductive, especially given his title. I come to present my apologies to those who may have been shocked by my prank, which had nothing original about it, he tweeted. The hoax drew criticism from some Twitter users at a time when scientists often have to fight back against false images in the news. Coming from a scientific research director, it's quite inappropriate to share this type of thing, replied Twitter user Alexis200M. In an attempt to regain the scientific high ground, Mr. Etienne later posted an image of the famous cartwheel galaxy, assuring followers that this time the photo was real. Sure, I don't know if that's this. Maybe it's this. Or is it soup? You just don't know. I don't know. Do you believe the guy? Well, yeah, I guess so. But very cool.
It's just dumb. It's like, why? You're in the position of authority. Why would you be telling people to not? Oh, God.
That's got to be next to professional suicide. I don't know. I don't know if he'll pull through or not on this. Probably. Maybe the French have a much better sense of humor than a lot of other places. But, man, that's a bold move to take a picture of sausage and tell people it's whatever, Proxima Centauri or whatever he said. That's just all kinds of, that's a bold move. That's something you'd expect out of a grad student or something, not the director of a high office in France. But anyway, gotta appreciate the hustle. That's pretty hilarious. All right. So thank you, Maggie, for sending that in. That's awesome. Really cool. We appreciate it tons and a bunch. Now, I do want to take a couple minutes to talk about a film. Now, a couple of things. First of all, today I posted one of the promo posters from this poster, and it's called To Kill a Bigfoot. And I know it's a sensitive topic for some people because, of course, the many people believe that these beings are very intelligent, that they are a people that dwell and live in the forests and wilds of the world. And as such, they shouldn't be just treated like an animal. And so I got a lot of kickback on it considering that I never get kickback on anything, really. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not. But I did get some pushback on this one. And I got to tell you guys that, I post things to become discussions. Because if I filter everything through my own lens, that means all you're going to get is whatever I believe or whatever I agree with. And that's not my role as a host of a show. I have guests on the show from time to time that share things that maybe I don't subscribe to all the way, or at least maybe I don't understand, or I haven't thought about much. And so this is the Paranormal Portal. First and foremost is the discussion about this strange and wonderful phenomena of our world. And this strange and wonderful phenomena has people involved in it from all walks of life. And as such, you've got to be able to entertain ideas that maybe you don't agree with. Not because you should agree with them, but you should understand that it's all part of dialogue and discourse. And I think it's important to talk, and if you don't agree with it, take the time and lay it out. Why don't you agree with this? Now, I posted the question at the end of the post, hey, this is a new project underway by Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC in Washington. And basically it's a documentary film effort that they're working on. And it sounds incredibly intriguing. I'll put it out there and say, personally, I'm not pro kill. I definitely am not. I don't think that's the way forward. But what I did was I posted on the end of my post that many believe that in order to substantiate the legend, it will require a body. What do you think? And I think that's a great point of discussion. Now, I don't encourage people to go out and hunt Bigfoot. I never have. It's never been a part of my approach to this subject. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a subject we know so desperately little about that I don't think our first reaction to it should be, hey, that's weird, let's shoot it. And drag a body in so that we can help everyone else believe in it. But I do think that it's worth having the discussion because a lot of people believe that that's the only way to substantiate the legend. So I just wanted to discuss this a little bit on the show, that you're not going to get on this show. I will share my opinions, but everything that's on the show is not something that I ultimately subscribe to or buy into all the way, or I have differing viewpoints. But this show is not my filter, and it's not representing my beliefs. The show is talking about phenomena that I hope we're all interested in, and we have to explore all the options. Now, here's the other angle on this, and quite honestly, if so many people talk about the scientific method, and in the scientific method, you have to have an open mind for all possibilities that you cannot systematically disqualify. If you cannot systematically disqualify a hypothesis, an idea, a thought, it has to remain relevant. And therefore, it is a relevant argument to say maybe there is a body needed. Do I believe in that? Do I subscribe to that? No, personally, I don't, because I don't think we understand enough to know if these are, an incredibly intelligent and sentient being, which I believe they are, but I can't substantiate that. But at the same time, I think we have to be able to engage in dialogue, because once dialogue is not allowed, we're in a very bad place. And you can see that reflected in a lot of parts of our society where it's not even let's talk about things. It's you don't believe like I believe, then, I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to, try to hurt your world because you don't believe me in what I believe. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous thinking. So I just want to encourage people, if you ever see something posted, it's not to inflame or aggravate or offend anyone. It's to create a dialogue, to have a discussion. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you believe and why you believe that. Give me your personal experiences, or, give some kind of rationale for what you believe, or even just a belief. If it's just a theory that you have, fantastic. But that creates dialogue, which creates discussion, which creates an opportunity to learn from each other. Shutting things down and saying, you guys should be, this is so horrible, this is terrible, is not going to perpetuate any kind of growth for anybody. It's just going to inflame and anger and draw more hard, rigid lines. And I want to caution everybody about that and against that. But I do also want to take a couple minutes now and discuss this project. So the project is To Kill a Bigfoot. It's Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC's new documentary project. It'll be taking place in Washington State. And it's a fascinating approach, and one that I am going to be a part of, just so you guys know again. And I think these kind of things are fascinating and fantastic. The more people that are out there doing the research, doing the work, going out there to see what they can find, taking new approaches and new ideas out into the field, I think is valuable to everyone. Now, there is on the, August 15th, if you're able to, there's a meet and greet going on in Medellin Falls, that's in Washington State. And you can meet and greet the cast and crew and get an idea about what this project means. Now, it's not, maybe not exactly what you think it is, but just if you want to learn more about it, I would encourage you, if you're able to check it out, or at least to go talk to the people involved. So there's a meet and greet again at the Cutter Theater, and I think it's Cutter Theater. Fantastic people in Medellin Falls. Don and I were there at a conference a couple years ago. They just had another one more recently, but we didn't attend that one. But the people in Medellin Falls are just top notch. They're just wonderful people, and it's a beautiful area on top of that. But you can head over there on August 15th from 3 to 4 p.m. for a meet and greet at Cutter Theater in Medellin Falls to learn more about this project. It's going to be it's a very ambitious effort, and I'll tell you that you can't judge a book by its cover. I'll just say that. But I would encourage you guys to look into the project before you draw any real sharp criticisms or ideas about what it means. So I just want to take a few moments to mention that. Talk about, let's have a discussion. Don't. And the reason that I bring that up, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, because I think we came to an understanding in a couple of responses to that posting. There were some very, very angry people, and I spent a little time, just reading what they said. And I understand the passion people have for this subject. I really do. And I share your passion. But again, I think it's important to re-engage in dialogue, not in vitriol, not in casting aspersions or hatred or my way or the highway. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to shut you down. But I had some dialogue with some of those people in messages and helped them to understand my position, what goes on in the Paranormal Portal, why I do this show, is because I don't have the answers. I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. I have some ideas. I have a lot of ideas, but the only way that we can grow together in all of this, because we're dealing with a bucket full of unknown, is to talk, share thoughts, share ideas, grow together, not don't read something on my page and go, I'm going to have to shut you down. I'm going to start a boycott. And And that's not a good response, because first of all, you don't understand my position. You never took the time to ask, and to draw conclusions based on a picture is a bit short-sighted too, because you really don't understand the context of the project. So please take a moment. If you want to look at the post, go ahead. It's over on Paranormal Portal Radio page on Facebook. But just know that it's all about dialogue. This whole show is about talking, having fun with these subjects that are absolutely, in many cases, terrifying and unnerving, and if just really torn apart people's lives. I'll try to have fun with them here and to grow in understanding and a community. So just wanted to put that out there. But again, August 15th, 3 to 4 p.m. in Medellin Falls, Washington, at the Cutter Theater is the meet and greet. You can come over and meet the cast and crew and understand a little more about what this project means. But again, don't judge the book by the cover, is my point. So
yeah, I had the same thought. Maggie M. Ted said in the chat that you can't learn in an echo chamber, in my honest opinion, and I fully agree. Can't have a discussion when there's only one side of thinking in it.
Yeah, exactly. And Rachel says it's awful to think about, but I think the older researchers, maybe John Green and others like Peter Byrne, they also said use buckshot and slugs, aim for the base of the spine. Yeah, I mean, and it's a troubling idea, and the reason I guess since we're talking about this kill or no kill, the thing is we don't know how many are out there. I mean, we have no idea. These beings could be incredibly mobile and able to cover huge expanses of ground, and so it seems like they're all over the place. But in any state, there might only be a handful, but they're just very mobile. They move and they cover ground, and people have sightings and experiences, and we don't know their range, we don't know their intelligence, we don't know much other than they leave tracks, they appear to eat, they can hide really, really well, they're extraordinarily strong, and seem to have a bit of a hierarchy or at least a tribal organization to them. And other than that, we don't know a bunch. So by simply creating a specimen for science, I mean, you could be decimating a whole area's population just because of the breeding pool. We just don't know. So again, those are my reflections, my opinions, and please share yours. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, guys. But all right, so I hope you guys will check it out.
We had a question in the chat. It was aimed at me, but we can both answer it. Sheldon, if you killed a Bigfoot, would you eat it? No.
No. I don't think I would too. I mean, and not for any other reason than I think it'd be just too much like eating a person,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Number one, we don't know what it would do to our body to have Sasquatch meat. We have no idea. We could get incredibly sick, or or get
superpowers.
Disease,
we don't know. You might get superpowers too. Who knows? But, we just don't know. But no, Sheldon's not a vegan.
Nope, I'm not a vegan.
I do know that the boy can throw down some protein. But yeah, it's. I don't think I'd eat it. I don't know. It would just make me feel too much like a cannibal. Even though they're not exactly like us, they're similar enough that it would be really creepy. So, but anyway, cool. I just wanted to have that discussion. Wanted to point that out. Now we're going to move over to an article that I've got pulled up for your viewing and listening entertainment. And this is one from thoughtcatalog.com. And Thought Catalog is a cool site that has basically several topic areas with hundreds of articles in each topic area. And I really like their paranormal and creature pages and stuff. So they have a lot of neat articles. But here's one that I found. And this is 21 strange stories about what it's like to actually meet a lizard person in real life. So the idea is that there's many schools of thoughts, is that there's these lizard people that live amongst us. Some believe they can camouflage themselves and look just like us. And some people suggest that there's hybrids, part us and part lizard people out there. There's other ideas that these are a subterranean species that's been around, since the dawn of time here on the planet, and other ideas they come from the stars. So I don't know, but let's check out these experiences. I don't know. What do you think, Sheldon?
I mean, I've always heard, even when I was younger, I've heard like here and there people talking about how lizard people are in our government and lizard people exist, and that they're shapeshifters. I really screwed up your much thought into it.
I really screwed up your childhood, didn't I?
Maybe it came from you. I don't know.
I think I've seen these things all over the web too for years, but I don't know what to think about things like that. I guess it's possible, but it seems like a strange thing. But anyway, let's check out the article. The first one is I felt like prey. I felt like prey. By the way, who is this written by? Emily Madriga, and this is last updated August 27th, 2021, again from Thought Catalog. And the first one, I felt like prey. He was a customer and I was helping out. Honestly, there was nothing that really stood out with him. He was handsome, but in a normal way. He dressed normal, talked normal, was blandly friendly, and as you are with strangers, just a normal upper middle class type of guy. The only thing that really stood out was his blue eyes. Not in a goofy supernatural type of way. He just had very, very blue eyes. I don't know if that's a lizard criteria, but anyway. But for some reason, he made every hair on my neck stand on end. Alarm bells were going off in my head like crazy. All I wanted to do was to hide. I have never felt this way before or since, and even when I was followed home by someone, I've never felt such gut deep, you are in danger, as I did with this guy. After ringing him through, he reached out to shake my hand, and this is not common at all here, but out of politeness, I took it and shook. And I instantly got so nauseous, I almost gagged. The moment I got nauseous, he just held my hand and smiled. And something in that smile made me absolutely sure he knew what I was feeling and he enjoyed it. I'm not religious in any way, but I remember thinking in that moment, oh God, is this the devil? After he left, I was still so sick feeling I had to go to the back and sit down. I'm not sure if he was a serial killer or what, but to this day, I have never experienced something even close to that encounter. I absolutely felt bone-deep certainty that I was in some sort of danger. I felt every bit the prey. It's hard to explain because it's all based on feelings, so I haven't told that many people about it, but to this day, it is absolutely one of the scariest and weirdest things I have ever experienced. That was by Electric Pink Mango.
But there's no really, there's no, as far as how it's written, there's no indication that was a lizard person. It was just based upon a feeling. That could be anything, really.
Could be a perfect possession where, there's long ongoing possession. There's a term called perfect possession, and that's when a possession has gone on for so long, there's no difference between the demonic influence and the original person anymore. It's just like a melding. Yeah. And it could be something like that. You're right. There was never any indication that, hey, his eyes went like a slit all of a sudden, or I saw scaly skin or something. So I don't know what this person is gauging that this was a lizard person, but at any rate, it is certainly odd. I've often wondered that too. It's like, what if doing the shows, I've talked to so many people that have met strange and weird and scary beings, like individuals. They look like people, but they're not people. And so what are these things? Well, maybe they are kind of lizard people, but maybe they're vampire or some form of that legend or something else. It's just hard to know. But that's it could, as rare as it could be, it could even be something as simple as that's the one type of person where your personal energies didn't mesh at all, or something along those lines too. Yeah, it could be just a psychic thing where it's like there's some part of you picking up on the fact that this is a horrible, horrible person and stay away. I'm sure there's strong intuition in some people, and maybe there's individuals that really trigger that intuitive response. But you're right, that's a good point too. So the next one is he was in my head. I was the only one working a register, as it was later in the night, and I had a line full of people and one supervisor close by doing her thing. And I looked up and saw this guy, about 2 or 3 people behind my current customer, and he gave me an instant feeling of unease. I saw this black fog type of aura around him. I've never seen auras of any types prior to this or after. I kept watch on him out of the corner of my eye, and I could feel him just watching me. When I looked up again to take care of customer number 2, it was the weird guy instead. Even stranger was, no one else was in the line anymore, and I could no longer find my supervisor. The store was quiet. All I remember about this guy is he had longish brown hair. Oh, I'll have to finish it on the other side.
No.
I thought I could read it before the break, but all right, folks, we're going to go to the hour break. We'll revisit this one when we come back. Sounds like a good one. Cliffhanger. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess.
They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are into hour number 2 already. It's flown by. We are in a time anomaly when you're in the portal, but great to see the new names. I did want to take a moment and please to thank Damian Van Blocken and Cecil Webb Jr., 2 new channel members, but I didn't see that. I just looked prior to launching the show tonight. I'm like, oh, we got 2 new ones. So I didn't put you on the credit thing yet, but I will be putting you on there. But thank you so much for joining up and becoming channel members, because that helps a ton. It helps a ton. These shows are largely a labor of love. Even, you know, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to pull these together, and certainly it does require a big time investment. So even something as little as being a member goes a long way. So thank you all so much, those of you that have and do or will and shall. So, all right. So I just wanted to thank them because I didn't put them in the end credit scene thanking the members. They're not in there yet, but thank you guys so much. All right. So what does? Oh, I was just checking out chat. I just looked at the chat and swear it sounds like something breaking sound barriers at incredible speeds. I don't know what she's referring to, but I hope it's a good thing. Okay, so we're going through an article so far. We just had to interrupt that last one because the break came up a lot faster than I was ready for. But
yeah, it always does.
It always does. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do. But this one was He Was in My Head, and I think I'll just start it over because I just got through the paragraph 1. And or almost, but it was talking about a woman working at a store, and we're talking about these are the title of the article is 12 strange stories about what it's like to actually meet a lizard person in real life. Now, I'll say the first one had nothing in there that indicated it was a lizard person. Like there wasn't any one physical factor that seemed to specify, hey, this is a lizard person, but these people are making an assumption that these are lizard people. They could be any number of different type of entities or beings or possessions or whatever. Hey, Jake, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. And I've seen a couple new names in the chat tonight too, by the way, and thank you guys for coming and checking out the show. Really appreciate it. But this one is He Was in My Head. I'm going to start from the beginning because we didn't get that far. I was the only one working a register as it was later in the night, and I had a full line of people and one supervisor close by just doing her thing. I looked up and saw this guy about 2 or 3 people behind my current customer, and he gave me the instant feeling of unease. I saw this black fog type aura around him, and I've never seen auras of any type prior to this or after. I kept watch on him out of the corner of my eye, and I could feel him just watching me. When I looked up again to take care of customer number 2, it was Weird Guy instead. Even stranger was, no one else was in the line anymore, and I could no longer find my supervisor. The store was quiet. All I remember about this guy is he had a longish brown hair, average height and looks, and the strangest blue eyes I've ever seen. There's again the blue eyes. I looked at him to ask what I could do for him, and before the words even completely left my mouth, he stated he needed a specific brand of cigarettes. The whole time he had this knowing grin on his face. When I turned away from him to get the cigarettes, everything went black. I couldn't see anything for what seemed like several minutes, but I'm sure it was only a few seconds at best, and all I could think was, oh God, this man is in my head and completely screwed my mind. When I finally turned back to him, he just laughed, this weird laugh, like he knew what I was thinking. He looked at me again and just walked away, and as soon as he was gone, everything went back to normal. My supervisor was back, my line full of customers again, all of it. I felt off for several days after this encounter and had nightmares about that guy's eyes following me and telling me he was always watching. Ooh.
See, once again, though, there's no indication.
Well, I wonder if there's...
Other than those, the blue eyes, but
yeah.
Is that an automatic indication?
Not one that I've ever heard of before. I'm going to look at the... I didn't read her first setup. It says, someone on Reddit asked, what conversation or interaction with a physically normal stranger left you wondering if you just talked to something non-human or supernatural like an angel, demon, ghost, alien, time traveler, etc.? Well, that's a whole lot different from what they actually titled the article. But anyway, we'll just keep rolling with it.
Okay, we'll just say other than human. Okay.
Yeah, something that looked human but was not human. So they're calling them lizard people for some reason. So I didn't write the article, but it's still really interesting stories. But at any rate, we'll continue. It says, I remember that vibe 30 years later. Was in my 20s traveling through Italy, and I was on a boat trip around Capri when an old guy started chatting to me. Those darn old guys. Whatever the question was, I made some remark about backpacking and wanting to make my money stretch the length of my travels, and he responded that he would swap my age for all of his money. Felt like the world had stopped, holding its breath while I thought about my answer. It truly felt ominous and foreboding until I said no. I still remember that feeling 30 years later.
That's a weird one.
That is a weird one. Yeesh. Ooh. That was from Take You Home, Kathleen. Take You Home, Kathleen. Well, yeah, that is weird. That almost sounds like a deal with the devil kind of thing.
Yeah, it does.
Crossroads kind of thing. I don't know.
But it's like a loot box because you could have just $2.
Yeah, you might have some pocket lint and a penny. You don't know. All my money, and well, turns out I'm broke, but thank you. I don't know. But anyway, the next one is called You'll Get It. Was coming back on the plane from a very important job interview, and I thought I blew it. I was spacing out during the entire flight, and when the plane landed, I finally got up to grab my bags. An older woman, 3 aisles down from me, looked straight at me and said, "Don't worry, it'll be okay. You'll get it." I reflexively thanked her and ignored what she said, but a few hours later, I got a call that I got the job. And only then did I remember what she said. I still don't know why she said that and how she knew what my problem was. That was by Degener 13. Ginner. Like a gin. Okay. Well, now that's an interesting thing. So, I guess that would kind of feel creepy though, right? So if you knew somebody was in your head that much that they could just tell your thoughts, I mean, wouldn't that be, it'd be a little exposing, I think. It'd be like being mentally naked. It's like, I just want to wrap up in something. So I don't know. That's kind of intimidating. That's what I think, is like, would you want somebody to have full telepathy with you? And I'm thinking, no, no, this is a mess in here. I'm doing my best to deal with this. I can imagine somebody else going through it. So the next one's called Prediction. Happened just under a decade ago. Was walking home at night, and there was seemingly no one else around until I passed by a church, and I saw a black guy standing outside, apparently just hanging out. This is in Bismarck, North Dakota, where there are very few black people. Well, he said hello, and I nodded and waved, and as I continued on my way, I heard him say, "You're going to have a bad day tomorrow." The next day, my basement apartment was flooded, and literally stuff from a poop from a backed up sewer line. Oh, that is horrible. Yikes. So you got to wonder, was this person the one that did it? I mean, or was it truly just a premonition? Like, ooh, tomorrow's going to suck for you. Or
Yeah, he's just having fun with it. Yeah.
or it's like, yeah, I needed $5. You just waved. All right, screw you. I don't know. That's a tough one. Meat creatures is next. I can't wait to read this one, folks. Everybody's always intrigued by a few meat creatures. I used to work at a service deli, and this guy walked in one day looking around at everything. And he asked me a few questions about how we get our meat, how it gets shaped that way, and what kind of currency is accepted, and how the interaction of a purchase is made. Well, that's weird. Then he just kind of smiled and said, "So sorry if I come off as strange. I'm from the future, so this is all overwhelming to me." Then he spent time at the whole meats department, a little distance away from the deli counter, and asked my coworker there similar questions. He also asked him if people purchasing meat of creatures is a significant part of our infrastructure. Well, me and my coworkers talked about it all day. Realistically, he could have just been a goofy guy, maybe on drugs, or maybe have a mental illness related to perception of reality. He seemed like a regular guy. He was wearing office attire that looked expensive, like maybe silk, and spoke clear, fluent English. Never encountered or had a conversation with anyone like that before. That was by 40 Ounce Freed.
Okay.
Could it be a time traveler? How far ahead do you have to be to not know how to buy some meat? I don't know. Maybe they don't. How do you get it to shape like that? Well, yeah, it comes pre-shaped. It's just the way we cut it. New suit is the next one. I used to be a tailor in a suit shop in Edinburgh, and this very odd-looking gentleman came in. Short, big, broad smile, always plastered on his face, and weird little black round glasses that looked like they were Victorian or something. Anyway, he was dressed in an old worn tweed suit and wanted a new one for an evening he was going to. He said it was an old fraternity or gentleman's club and gave me a name. I wish I could remember it. It was over 10 years ago, but I feel like I forgot the name right away. Well, I measured him up, gave him various suits to try on, selecting a whole outfit over the course of about 2 hours. The whole time he was asking me a bunch of very strange questions and claimed he could see into a person and that this was my calling, but I was an artist. He could tell by my eyes. He kept writing things down in this weird little journal that he had. There was something incredibly unsettling about it all. And eventually, once I had his outfit ready, he passed me a card and said that I should come along to his meetup. He could introduce me to his colleagues and that they would have many business ventures for me. He laughed and said that the address was very hard to find, but even harder to leave. Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Wow. I don't know if I like that one. I think I'd stay homesick that day too. He then paid me and left a huge tip before leaving. When I was tidying up, I found one of his notebooks in the changing room, and I snuck a look at it, and it was full of writing, but it was in some other language and really, really scribbly. There were diagrams for buildings and lots of drawings of crows. He never came back to get the book, and I never went to the address till much later and couldn't find it. Well, I gave the book to a friend who thought he could decipher it, but nothing ever came of that. That was by Skill 217. Wow. He should have scanned that book or something first. That's very interesting. See, now that to me sounds like an extraterrestrial. Like, you know, there's lots of opportunities for you. It's a great place. Hard to find, but you really have a hard time leaving. Well, because you're in a different star system or what?
True. Oh, yeah.
Guardian Angel. There was a young woman about my age at the time, early 20s, sitting alone at a nearly empty coffee shop. She seemed like she was trying not to cry, so I went over and asked if I could sit with her. We talked for hours about everything and nothing at the same time, and she didn't go into detail about what was going on with her, but she felt like there was no hope. Well, I did my best to encourage her, told her not to give up, tried to give her reasons to hold on, thought of ideas that might give her a spark of hope. The coffee shop was closing, and I wrote my phone number down and told her that I'd love to hang out with her again, and if she could call, that she could call me any time. Well, she looked at me and told me that everything I said to her wasn't for her to hear. It was for me. I hadn't told her that I was in fact suicidal. I had originally gone to the coffee shop to think about how to best take myself out. While talking to her, I figured if I could maybe help someone else not feel the way I do, I wouldn't kill myself, or at least not yet. She not only saved my life that day, but gave my whole life a new purpose filled with hope. I'm a therapist now. I help people all day. She hugged me and then walked out the door, and I ran after her because she forgot the napkin with my number on it. I was no more than 2 seconds behind her. I got outside, and there was no one there. That's from Not Lucky 01. I know I've read that one before on another show long ago, but that to me sounds like an angelic or divine intervention kind of thing.
I was thinking the same thing. That is powerful.
Right. It's really a beautiful thing to think, maybe there's those beings that truly are out there, like those guardian angels, and since this person was in such a devastated state and so close to ending everything, it just showed up and looked sad because it was his angel, and so it was sad that he was about to give it up and then turns it around and makes it a career. Wow.
That's perfect.
That is a beautiful story. I really like that one. All right. Let's see. We're at 9 minutes till the break. God, the time is flying.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Next one is Pink Lady. Hope you guys are liking these stories, by the way. I think they're absolutely fascinating. I love these shorter discussional type of stories where you read something very profound and then you can just reflect on it and think about it. And I really do love this format of stories. But this one is called The Pink Lady. The Pink Lady, I call her that because she always wore bright pink and her skin was very pink. I used to drive to a park that was near me, run around it for about an hour, and then drive home. One year, on the hottest day of the year, I saw this woman who was somewhat overweight, and I'd never seen her before. I remember thinking that a 98-degree day was a terrible day to start going for walks or jogs or whatever. I saw her from a bit of a distance, but I could see that her mouth was wide open. Her walk was a very fast-paced shuffle, like a person running with their pants around their ankles. Well, I saw her a few more times over the coming weeks, always in pink, always with her mouth open, always shuffling, and always from a distance because the park path had many splits and turns and such. Well, I'd mentioned her to friends of mine and thought maybe she was power walking, but after watching videos of that, I didn't think that was it. And anyway, one day I was running the opposite direction from her and our paths were going to cross. As I got closer to her, I said, "Good afternoon," and waved. And as I was saying this, I noticed that her eyes were very dark brown, and it was very hard to distinguish the iris from the pupil. She stopped dead in her tracks, stared into my eyes, and smiled at me. And by that, I mean her mouth very jerkily, like something out of a horror movie went from an O to be a frown, to completely straight, to a smile, and then back again. It was creepy as hell. As I was leaving the park that day, I saw her sitting on a bench and staring at me as I drove away. Never saw her again. That's creepy.
Wow. Yeah, the switching in facial.
Yeah, it sounded like it was very awkward, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. That's creepy. That's a 10 on the creepy meter, Sheldon.
Yeah, I mean, that could be anything. I would say anything from drugs all the way to something darker.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Maybe she was in her Edgar suit.
I don't know what that means. Men
in Black, the insect guy got an Edgar suit and he was walked around drinking sugar water. Come on.
Oh God, that's right.
All right. So I don't know, maybe her Edgar suit was getting a little worn out.
Oh no. Oh, okay. All right.
All right. You gotta love the reference, right?
I do. I actually do.
The next one, he knew everything about me. Well, I was going through a really hard time at the time, and I was walking back home after getting something to eat alone at a local food court. I was standing at the traffic light and saw this guy kind of off to my right and got this really weird feeling, like he had an aura or something. A totally normal looking guy, by the way. Anyway, a few minutes later, he comes up to me as I'm walking and says, "You have one of the most kind energies I've been able to see." And I'm like, oh God, is he trying to pick me up? What the hell? Please leave me alone. But then he continues and accurately, like insanely accurately, tells me what's been going on in my life, and as in he knows that XYZ thing is happening, but in a broad sense. Like, I think recently you probably lost a family member close to you that you love, and you had a falling out, but you need this to push forward, etc. When I clearly looked freaked out, he just smiled and said, "Yeah, I have a gift. People don't believe me, but it's a thing," and just wandered off. Well, that could just be a very sensitive person. I mean,
yeah, just a psychic person.
Just a reading. I mean, he just got a reading, right? That
Sounds
was
like it, yeah.
Caught in a lie. Caught in a lie. Okay. I don't know what that's a weird name. Time Traveler's next. Yeah, I can read this one. I had a moment with a guy in a street that left me wondering for months afterwards. He was wearing clothes in a style that was just slightly off. Couldn't tell you exactly what was wrong with it beyond every item of clothing looked custom made somehow. He was excited and a little erratic and asked me when it was. And I told him the time, about 1:30 p.m., and he shakes his head and asks me what the date is. So I tell him, and he thanks me and then rushes off down the street. Now, I was quite close to our local hospital, and it's possible that he was a psychiatric patient or that he could have been cosplaying for it, all I know. And I think that the psych patient thing is more likely than the cosplaying explanation, though. I never got a hint that he was playing a game or trying to deceive, but I was unable to shake the feeling that he was a time traveler. Easily one of the weirdest interactions I've ever had. Well, that was by Davy636. Davian636. But I don't know. I forget the date all the time. But I don't know. Maybe I give off weird vibes too. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was you.
Could have been me. It might have been me. I'm always, what's the date? What is the date? All right. He couldn't think of a fake email account. It was a few years ago, and I was working at Best Buy, and a guy came in with an outfit so inconspicuous, it was conspicuous. Maroon jacket, sunglasses, baseball hat. Kind of worried that he might be a robber. He bought like 200 AA batteries, and we had to ask people if they were a Best Buy rewards number and look it up with their email. And I asked the guy if he's a member, and he gets really nervous looking. He kind of acts confused and then said yes. I asked him for his email, and he froze up for a second, then said something to the effect of http://www.email.com and asked if it sounded like an email. Seeing he wasn't getting it, I just brushed it off and hurried him out. Always just had this weird feeling. I'm very skeptic of conspiracy theories, but I want to know what this guy's story was. And that was by that username that I'm not going to read out loud. So
I just read it. Nice.
I'm not going to read that on the air. So if anybody wants to read it, it's on your screen. Good luck with that. We got about 2 minutes. I don't think I can get through this one quite yet. So,
well, it's interesting about these stories is like, even stories like in your own personal lives, it's one of those things you'll always wonder afterwards, like, what's this person's story? And you may never get an answer, and it's kind of too bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it is. I think I met an angel, and I've told the story on the show a few times over the years, but there's an old guy in a parking garage, and then, he hung around, and it's a long kind of weird story, but it was a beautiful story. And then at the end, it was getting to be, he was around for several weeks, and then all of a sudden he said he had to go, and it was kind of a foggy morning at about 5 a.m. And he's walking away. The sunlight's starting to break. And as he's walking away, he's literally, it's a straight shot the way he's walking. I can see for about a mile down all of these sidewalks in this urban area. But all of a sudden I hear this snap to my left, and I look over and there's nothing there. And then I look back and he was gone. It was like, oh, where'd he go? Because he couldn't have gone anywhere. It was just he was gone. And to this day, I just wonder, wow, was that an angel? Was that? I mean, it was just a really cool experience. And I'm sure you know the story I'm talking about, Sheldon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was. I still think about that to this day.
Yeah, me too. It's just one of those weird experiences. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the last break of the night. We'll come back. I think we'll go to some other stories for the last half hour, dealing with some cryptids. So hang on to your hats and get ready for more of this exciting journey through the paranormal portal. Don't go away. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are once again back on the Paranormal Portal for the last segment of the night. Wow, geez, that went fast. Oof. And
Always does.
It always does. But thought we'd do some shout outs because, well, we love to acknowledge the fact that you're here. And so far in TFR, it's myself, Bam, and Gemini are over there. How you guys doing? Good to see you. And Sheldon, do you want to see who's here? On the
YouTube side, we have, if you want to get a shout out, go ahead and chat in the chat box. But for now, we have D Oceans Deep Woo, Elaine Clifford, Ghost Magnet 81, Jake Fortes, Jessica Mink, Maggie M10, Michael Miller, You're Here, Rachel Gets It Right, Ruger Ridge, Justin Good Earth, Susie to Anyone, The Unknown, The Fourth Color, Wander Woman, and I think I saw someone else come in. Maybe I already called them out.
I don't know.
I think that's all we got for now.
Well, that's good enough. Well, thank you all for being here. I know there's a bunch of you that aren't talking. Yeah, Jake, we said your name. Jake says, I'm here. Yep, your name was called, brother. So Elaine's not here.
Oh, that's too bad.
But yeah, thank you all for being here and being a part of it. Hey, Justin, Good Earth. Good to see you, brother. But yeah, it's good to see you guys here. We have one segment to go, about 24 minutes of show left. Can you believe that?
No, never can.
Where does it go? Where does it go? It's a time anomaly, of course. But I thought we would take a moment and where the hell am I? There I am. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, that's another one. Okay. I got a lot of things pulled up. Jeez. I got one story here to go through that I've had open for a while. And this is from phantomsandmonsters.com. Of course, that's Lon Strickler's site. He's been a guest on the show a couple times, at least on the podcast, and had a lot of fun talking to Lon. He's just a interesting guy. He's got a whole lot of experience in the paranormal and Fortean topics, so it was a lot of fun to talk to. But his site is called phantomsandmonsters.com, and if you're not familiar with it, you should check it out because it's been a pillar of the paranormal and Fortean community for ages now. I know it's just one that's been a staple of my diet as I've been looking into phenomena forever, since way back before there was a paranormal portal. But head over to phantomsandmonsters.com, check out all of the incredible creature sightings and stuff that are posted over there. He's got quite a repository of those, along with some research efforts that he and some associates are doing. And Lon is also a published author and has a podcast called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So lots of opportunities there, ladies and gentlemen, to get some more of this incredible information that we call the woo. All right, but this article is called, it's from July 31st of this year. It's called Remember the Flying Witches of Monterey. And this is kind of cool because I remember seeing the videos that were coming out of Monterey that apparently, I mean, they look like these anomalous things drifting by, but a lot of people said, no, it looks like a witch on a broom or something. And it really kind of does. It's really kind of creepy, whatever they are. I don't know whatever came of it, so it was neat to see this article pop up because it's something that, of course, I was familiar with from ages ago. And many of you, I'm sure, are as well. So let's see what he says here. A Mexican resident recalls the Flying Witches of Monterey incidents when he was younger, and at the time, there was a lot of media coverage on the sightings and encounters. Yeah, they really were. I mean, there was news reports about them and everything. It's hard as hell to get anything on the news anymore. Once in a while, you'll see a Ring doorbell video come in, but for the most part, they don't do a lot of this stuff like they used to. But anyway, it says, I recently came across the following account, and it says, back in 2006, 2007, I went to a small town in Mexico to meet my grandparents, and I had to be at least 9 years old at the time. One day I was sitting in the dining table minding my own business as I was playing with Legos. Suddenly, I heard my mother calling out my name to come to the living room. She kept telling me to come and see what was happening on TV. What I saw on TV was something out of the ordinary. It was a news report of a witch flying across the mountains of Monterey. To put in perspective, the small town where I visited my grandparents was surrounded by mountains. Monterey is just an hour away from the town. Monterey was just an hour away from the town. Okay. After what I saw on TV had terrified me to the core, I never once came back to the dining table, as I spend nearly the entire day just watching the mountains through my grandparents' windows to see if I catch anything suspicious. I remember the news reporters interviewing a policeman who was petrified. His knees were trembling, and I partially remember the full details of the witch, but what stuck to me was the outline, leather or feathery shape of the witch and her monstrous nails from her hands. Later at nighttime, it was time for me to go to sleep. I remember the sound of heavy, strong roars of the wind, causing the leaves and sticks from the tree to scratch my window. I looked over at the bedroom door and noticed that it was barely closed. All of this made me feel uneasy to go to sleep, as I kept trying to get that news coverage out of my mind at night. For what felt like hours, I could still hear the sounds of the wind and the scratches from my window. I kept staring at the wall in the corner of my right side of the bed in hopes that I'd just slowly fall asleep from there. Suddenly, I had the strange feeling that somebody was watching me through the cracks of the bedroom door behind my back. I didn't even want to look at the door anymore, so I pulled my blanket and covered myself entirely. I closed my eyes and hoped that this feeling goes away soon. A minute later, I heard a cackle outside of the house that sounded exactly like a witch. Not only did it creep me out, but it traumatized me to the point where I could not go to sleep until very late at night. As much as my family saw that news report, I did not tell my parents, grandparents, nor any friends or other family members of what I experienced that night, or even bother to ask them if they heard someone laughing outside at night. So, is this a child just that's traumatized by something they don't understand, and so they created this vision? Maybe they created this moment, or this what's the word I'm looking for? This
Tulpa, you mean, or not?
Well, not really, because I don't think it was probably really there, but they were so afraid of it that they created the hallucination, is the word I was looking for, hallucination.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
The wind blowing the leaves and branches was making the scratching sound. Then the door wasn't closed all the way, so this kid's already worked into a fever pitch. And then, of course, was that the wind or was that, and I mean, kids, of course, have the best imaginations of all, because they can look at pieces of plastic and create universes. I mean, it's just amazing. Imagination is powerful, but, could they create the sound then, just being so afraid that they swear they heard it? And I think that's probably the case in this report, but, it's a tough one, because could it have been really some apparition visiting him? Sure, I guess. But more than likely, it's just a scared kid that shouldn't have been watching the news. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah, that night was a bad news night for that kid. And the mom calling, "Oh, hey, come check this out." It's like, well, maybe don't. Just let him play with Legos. Let him have that innocence. I'm just going to put that out there. But what do you think, Sheldon?
I mean, I had many experiences when I was, not many, but I had a few standout experiences that they seemed real to me. So, but there's a lot working against the psyche. So it's hard to say, but
yeah,
could be
the real thing. It's hard to know, folks. But anyway, cool story, because I do remember those reports, and then it just kind of became nothing. It was like just gone. And I guess that's probably the way of any news, really. I mean, it's wait 5 minutes and something else will happen, and they'll forget all about whatever's going on. So, but I did find those videos pretty compelling, pretty interesting, because it was obviously something floating around along the mountainside that I remember seeing. I don't remember the talons and all the stuff he's describing, but perhaps I saw a different feed or a different video. But anyway, then suddenly nothing. Now there is, La Lorna and the brujas and stuff of Spanish legend and folklore and superstition. So maybe there's a merit for this stuff that is very real down there. But yeah, very cool. Whatever the case, we don't know. We don't know, folks. but I'm going to close that one up and head to Sasquatch Chronicles, which is our next visit on the show tonight. And we're hitting the Sasquatch Chronicles blog and some fascinating stuff over there because I wanted to do some cryptids. Love to throw in a little bit of cryptids. And, of course, what better place to pull a good cryptid story than Sasquatch Chronicles? Everybody knows the podcast, but also you guys should know there's a ton of stuff on there that never makes the show. And you just go through the blog and you can catch all kinds of interesting things going on. Not only on Wes's show, but he also posts about other shows, sometimes even the Portal, which is really cool. So thanks, Wes. Appreciate it. All right, this one's from July 21st, a large hominid with red eyes. A listener writes, I've worked for 7 years as a park enforcement officer/supervisor. I have a minor in anthropology and have spent my whole life in the woods, camping, fishing, hiking, off-roading. I never believed in Bigfoot and thought it was idiots misheard elk calls, bears, seeing bears walk on two legs, seeing high set of eye shine, that is an elk or larger animal in a tree, or just people in suits trying to scare others. I had zero knowledge of a Bigfoot, minus the stickers you see on people's cars everywhere in Washington, and some random wood cutouts on the side of barns. I didn't even know of the Patterson film until my encounter. I have heard every animal call there is in training. We get random training thrown at us all the time, routinely. A few times a year we have to listen to animal call recordings, and makes upper management happy, and I suppose to waste our time. and more importantly, firsthand working around Mount Rainier. Bobcat, cougar, bear, coyote, elk, you name it, I've heard it. First time I heard a cougar scream in person, I thought it was a woman was getting murdered and ran after the sound until somebody on the radio yelled at me to get back in my patrol vehicle. Yeah, you don't want to get that one wrong. Around November 2019, I was on patrol at approximately 0300 Pacific Standard Time when I heard a deep and loud "arr" sound in the distance over my music. Probably the dumbest thing you've heard, but I initially thought it was a chainsaw going through a tree. A lot of what? Weyerhaeuser around here, and they start early. I don't know, Weyerhausers, or there must be a lumberjack term or something, as it sounded like no animal I'd ever heard. So I thought nothing really of it. At approximately 0340 Pacific Standard Time, I entered the Weyerhaeuser land and stopped to pee on the forest road and heard loud rustling/stomping. At first I thought maybe the elk we have out here, but it didn't match up with the sound of a four-legged animal, and the weight of the steps was too loud to be a man. Thinking it could be a bear, some bears, not super common, walk on two legs due to injuries to their front paws. I zipped up and got in my patrol vehicle. As I continued down the road maybe 50 yards, I observed about 20 yards in the tree line to my 10 o'clock what appeared to be a 7.5 to 8 foot hominid slightly slouching with red eyes. I'm assuming it was eye shine from the headlights. My heart sunk and I was terrified. Honestly, I felt like throwing up. My first thought was, Wookie? He says, haha. All I could see was broad shoulders, a head sunken low, no neck, like the foramen magnum was in a different location. Like the foramen magnum, I don't know what that is, was in a different location. Thick, dark brown, may have been black because it was still dark out, but I'd say dark brown, hair, kind of like a briar dog's coat. A flat, bulbous nose, kind of like the Aboriginal people. It reminded me of photos I have seen from my cultural anthropology classes. And one arm, the other was behind a tree. The humerus compared to the radius and the ulna and the proportions, and that's the arm, the radius and the ulna are the two bones in the arm. The humerus is this, and your bicep area. So just to put it out there, in case somebody didn't know, the proportions seem larger than a human. Longer upper arm disproportionately to the lower arm. Its fingertips were approximately to its knees. May have been due to slight forward slouch, and its head and lower jaw ramus was massive, but didn't seem proportionate to its body/shoulders. I have power lifted, done bodybuilding, and been a trainer for 10 years. I've never seen so much muscle mass. Bears are muscular, but not toned. This reminded me of someone 8 to 10% body fat. It was toned. I froze for what seemed like forever. Have you ever had something happen to you out of the blue you weren't expecting? I.e. getting T-boned and everything slows down to the matrix and time seems to stand still? Before I snapped to, a loud knocking / thumping / thwacking to my 1 o'clock. It honestly sounded like a dryish log was getting whacked against one of the evergreen trees due to the depth and volume of the sound. Wasn't a thwack, it was deep thumping. My body knew there was something very wrong about to happen. I was reminded of ambush training, narrow road with unknowns on both sides, alone at night, so I floored it. I believe that sound was a second one, and I couldn't see deeper in the woods. It was more dense on my right than my left. I have never gone on that section of road again, not our property, so I really don't have to, nor do I want to, and only have told a few people of this encounter. I never brought it up at work because I'm afraid it may impact future promotions. Everyone out here is woodsmen, and I think Sasquatch is a hoax / myth / legend / kid's tale. I now live in Orting, Washington, and am nervous even take my dog on walks in the woods or hike around here during the evening or when nobody else was out. I'm off Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and only go into the woods on Saturdays. I used to disperse camp and refuse to outside of an established campground now. Sorry, that was clumsy for me. I still hear sounds. You know, when an elk does a mating call for the first portion is a deep grumble and then it gets loud and high pitch. It's similar to that octave, the deep grumble, but then depth, volume, power behind it, if that makes sense, and then a whooping tone to it. Don't tell my old music professor how terrible my description of sounds are. It's like a deep grumbling grunt that projects far. I haven't seen tracks. I haven't smelled any wet dog smell that I've heard mentioned. I've never seen nests. I honestly don't know. I don't know what one even looks like, so maybe I have. I've seen massive deer beds, but I wouldn't call that a nest. Or any known markings that could represent a Sasquatch. Again, I don't know what to even look for because my knowledge is so minuscule. I joined some Facebook groups and left within 24 hours because they were so pathetic / ridiculous. All I know to look for is footprints. Now, I've read that a sign is fallen trees, but it's the woods. There are fallen trees everywhere. And I can send you a picture next shift, doubt you really want it, of an area with probably 30 to 60 fallen trees. Wind happens. Unsure of what type of placement of fallen trees to look for. My neighbors who have lived in Orting and near where I work say that where I work is known for Bigfoot sightings. 25 to 50 miles south of Orting, keeping exact location hidden due to anonymity, not wanting to lose my job. And some old maps before GPS had a Bigfoot symbol on them where I work. Oof. That's kind of interesting. There's no maps with Bigfoot symbols on them. Unsure the truth of this, as I haven't verified or seen the maps. BFRO has a few reports of sightings from where I work exactly. Unsure the realism, as I have never heard of anything. Then again, the person on our side taking the report may have chucked it, thinking it was a joke. I'd be interested in knowing what to look for to see if I can find anything stumble upon. There's no way I am looking for one to send you guys. Yeah,
it's kind of like you've said before, though, too. Like, so, you know, some people just, they'll never talk about it, what they see.
Well, I mean, especially like this guy. This is his job, so credibility is kind of important with any kind of government jobs, and I suppose it's, you know, it's in many cases it's professional suicide, you know.
Yeah, they might think you're crazy type of thing. Yeah,
and it's one of those things that it's a fantastic idea until you have an account, and then it's real. I mean, then it's just real. That's what you know to be out there. But how do you convince other people? How do you bring them from it's ridiculous to it's foregone conclusion? unless they have a sighting of their own, they're never going to subscribe to it. At least in many cases. I'm speaking of skeptics, of course. Of course, people that agree and know that they're out there for whatever reasons, whether they've had accounts of their own or just believe that there's enough evidence. Yeah, you don't have to convince them, but it's the other people. And I think this person might actually be surprised at how many people secretly do think they are out there. A friend of ours of the show, Amy Boo, who does Project Zoo Book, is currently working with primatologists and zoologists and all kinds of professional people in the field, but they don't want their names out there for that same reason. It's because they're very interested in the subject, but they can't be officially interested in the subject. And that's unfortunate, because I do think that there is enough evidence out there to substantiate that there's creatures out there. People are seeing something very real. And so, the fact that that you really can't get any ambitious scientific inquiry is a tough one. But I'll tell you what, a sneak peek of an upcoming podcast episode, I'm going to be talking to Jeff Meldrum, Dr. Jeff Meldrum. So that'll be coming up in the near future. So if you're a listener of the podcast, watch for that. That should be a great discussion. I'm really looking forward to that talk with him. So I know you guys will enjoy it. So,
also, just a little clarification with the story. The foramen magnum, Maggie says, is a hole between the skull and the spinal cord, the one that's back behind your neck.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's I mean, he's speaking some of the anatomy I recognize from just my training as a massage therapist ages ago, but and that's the skeletal stuff. But after that, I'm like, what? What did he say? What was that word? So, I'm certainly not a doctor by any means, although I play one on TV. You might not get that channel. I could have gone totally inappropriate with that, but I'll leave that alone.
Tempted to let you tell me more about it.
Because
I have no idea.
You're probably the last one that I would talk about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bedroom talk, Sheldon. Come on.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyway, I don't know. It's interesting because I think they're out there. I think a serious inquiry would be good. There's enough evidence out there, I think, to do that. Now, truth be known, and I've said this many times on the show, here's the thing. In some regards, I would love for these to be acknowledged and to be recognized as a very real part of our world. Now, inversely, there's a big part of me that wants them to remain a legend, that they remained a mystery, and maybe even remain just a foolish idea for a lot of people, because I just don't believe that widespread knowledge of their existence is going to be good for them. I think that it'll encourage a whole lot of people to just storm out to the woods needing to see one for themselves, because everybody's, looking for the next big thing. And so they're going to want to find one. They're going to want to see them and, take the kids to Yosemite and check out the Squatch, things like that. And I think that much increased activity into what is probably, with our encroachment and expansion, there's probably a very tentative, habitat for them already, because they continually get pushed. As we expand, everything around it gets pushed. And so, I mean, if there's tens of thousands of more people in every state going out and hitting the parks and wild areas looking for Sasquatch, that's going to have an impact on a lot of different things, not only the Sasquatch, and that kind of worries me a whole bunch, because we don't know how many are out there. There could be just handfuls in a region, and all of a sudden there's tens of thousands of people going out in a region looking for them. Well, how are they going to survive? How are they going to take care of their family and subsist on what they can forage if everywhere they go they're being hounded? So I don't know. We have a tendency to destroy what we love, and it's not a malicious act, but it's just the way people are. Oh, those are real. I want to see one too. And they will go and try to see one. So just my thoughts, believe what you want, but I think that for them being a legend is just fine. Those that have had experiences, they know. Those that haven't, if they don't want to believe, they don't have to. What were you going to say? I'm sorry, Sheldon.
No, I completely agree. I lean on the side of staying legend because history has shown what people can do.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have a real good track record for, making ourselves, pushing ourselves into areas that we don't normally go. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to about wrap it up. Sheldon, did you paste the Discord in there?
I will paste it in the chat right now.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow night. Sheldon will be joining me, so we'll see you then, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here, and hopefully you'll be here with us. So we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.